Okay guys, so um, this is the second video on how to make a access database. Now, if you didn't watch the first video, I recommend that you go back in there if you don't know how to import your data into your database. Um, I definitely want to do that first. This video is specifically going over making queries, which is basically after you've gotten your data into the database, um, kind of doing searches or looking for specific information. So in the last video, I imported a UIC table which was kind of empty. It had like unit information. So I'm going to delete this one because again it was blank. I have one on my desktop, so I'm going to import that real quick. Some of you guys already know what this looks like, so I'm going to just do this real quick. Browse desktop units table. Okay. Import. Okay. Next. First row. Next. That should be text. I don't really need it to be anything else. Okay. Next. And primary key will be UIC. Next. And I'm going to put table as finish. Okay. So now I have my UIC information. I have my import that I did. I also have my linked table, which really the difference between these, the information is exactly the same right now. Now if I update the import file that I had on my saved on my desktop that I imported, as long as I import it into the database for this one, then the data is going to be up to date. If I don't, this is linked to the one that's on the desktop, so this one's always going to be up to date as long as I update the file that's on my desktop. This one will only be up to date as long as I manually import it into the database. Now, previously I said that the only reason why you would do that was because it's faster and it saves all your data locally in the database, so it works better, but it also makes your database bigger because all the data is still in there. So I have my UICs and I have my imported data. I really don't need my MO strings right now. So right now we're going to make just a basic select query. So I'm going to go to my database tools. Nope, sorry, home, create. So there are different options for queries. You can use the query wizard, which kind of gives you some automatic options, like doing a simple query, doing a crosstab query, finding duplicates, finding unmatched queries. We're not going to go into those. We're going to just do into a query design. So when you make a query, the first thing it's going to do is it's going to show you your tables. Now these are kind of just the system tables. Majority of these are the system tables that are already in there. We don't really need those. We need our table import, which is all the kind of my personnel database stuff. All my records are in there, and then my units. So if you notice that because I have my UICs as my primary key, meaning that there's only one UIC in this set, it automatically links to any data that matches that same title, which I have UIC in here. So it automatically linked it. Now, the reason why this is important is because let's say this file has everybody. Like let's say it has guys that don't belong to me. So let me delete this real quick. So if let's say I move all the data in here. Now right now, if I try to go in here, all this is blank. So if I try to go and look at this query, nothing's going to go in there because there's nothing in there. All these are the tables where I can get data from. So if I just want to know what a soldier's BASD is, now I actually have a field in there. But again, all it's showing me is one field. So let me delete this. Now there's a star on the top of this. Now this star, if you ever go into SQL, the star kind of represents everything. So if I drag this into here, it's going to show me everything that's on this table right here, on the table import. So I'm going to come in here and it shows me everything that's on that table. All the John Smiths. Now if you notice, I have multiple John Smith ones. To fix that, if you're running into that issue, you're going to go back into your query design, which is this button on the right. You're going to click in here, and then where it says unique values, you're going to hit Yes, because there are unique values in that table. So then we're going to go back to our data sheet view, and if you notice, now shouldn't be any more duplicate John Smiths. They're all different, but let me see if I can. This lets me go A to Z. So not exactly, but close enough. So I'm going to go back in here, and so again, the star represents all the data. Now if I don't want all the data, then that's fine. I can select specific data that I want. I can just say, okay, I just want to know BASD, Diros, I want their name, and their social. So that's great if this is, but again, this is including everybody. This may include guys that don't even belong to me. So that's why this UIC table is important, because the UIC table, let's say I have UICs that only belong to me, and I borrowed this UIC table from a buddy of mine who's actually in Hawaii. But let's say he wants to only look for soldiers that belong to these UICs. Well, again, I can connect. I can say, hey, look, I only want to display stuff that matches between this UIC and all the UICs that are on this table. So basically, if there are no UICs that are on this table, then they won't, like, basically it's going to match. So if their UICs match the UICs that are in this table, then they're going to display. So just to give you an example, let me kind of show you what I mean. So if I go in here, if I go back to my data sheet view, it's showing me 12,844 records. Now, if I go back and I connect this by UIC, it's showing me 41, because again, now all these guys belong to my UICs. Now the beauty of the queries too is now I can also put in information from two different tables onto this query. So let's say I want to know their actual UIC and their company, which that information wasn't on this table, but because they're linked by UIC, now I can actually get that information. So now I know that this UIC belongs to this company, which is who this guy belongs to. John Smith 2929. So that is one way of pulling this information by linking it. Now there are ways of working with this relationship right here. This is what it's called, a relationship. I can have it to where it only displays records that match, or if I right click it, I can go to the join properties, and I can include all records that are in here, and only those that match the UICs that are here. Or I can say, look, I only want to show the ones, all the UICs that are in here and all the ones that match here. But again, I just want the ones that match in both. So if they have UICs that are in both that match, then it's going to display that. I hope I didn't confuse anybody there. So again, this is one way. Now this is where queries start becoming more and more powerful. So let me save this. I'm going to save this, and I'm going to start again. Each different piece that goes into a database is labeled a certain way. So this is a query, so I'm going to name it query. So QRY, and then I'm going to just do this query test because, well, okay, let's go. Test. Okay, so this is our test query. So now let's say I want to look for someone whose last name is, well, let's see. So let's get an example. So let me copy this. HHCSTB, right? I'm going to go to company. So let's say I want to look for everybody who, Control D. So this is the criteria right here. If you see where it says criteria, it says HHCSTB. Now, in order to show this as a text, I'm going to put this in quotes. So anything that matches exactly to how I typed it here is going to show right here. So it just eliminated everybody who didn't match HHCSTB. Now again, if this doesn't match exactly how you want to see it, let's say I just put S T, I forgot the B, it's going to come up blank because it has to match. Now, in order to work around that, let's say you have units that you're not quite sure. Maybe it says STB, but maybe it could be typed incorrectly. There's a special character, basically a star. It's kind of that star there is kind of a wild card. So if I put this before HHC, it's basically saying it's like whatever's in front of HHC STB. So if like there's a 1 in front of HHC STB, it's still going to display because the wildcard's in front. So even still, if I do it like this, it should display still everybody that has HHC STB, because again that star is supposed to represent that missing H. So if I come in there, yep, it's still showing it. Let's say if I want to show everything that represents HHC, and let's say I want it to be all HHC, maybe not specifically HHC, I'm going to put the star after. So that way the only thing that's important is the HHC in front, and then the star after it means it could be anything after that as long as the first part of it is HHC. And come in there, and again, and see, it did come out with an extra one. So there's one guy who matches our UICs who has an HHC 524th. Because again, anything after that wild card said, look, I'm just looking for specifically HHC, and then the star after the fact is basically anything can be after that. So this is good if you want to find specific information in a query. Now queries can do a lot of other different things. So let's say we have let's get a BASD. So let's say we want to, sorry, we already had a BASD. So let's do ETS, because ETS is something we work with. So let's say you want to find guys with a certain ETS. So let's say I want to know everybody whose ETS date is between, and let me do this. Because again, this UI table might be small. I'm going to delete that relationship real quick. Let's say I want to find everybody who has an ETS date between October 1st of 2018. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put between, and then I'm going to put a number sign or a pound sign, hashtag, I don't know, some of you guys make it. Between, and then I'm going to put a pound or number sign, October 1st, 2018, and another pound sign, we'll say 9/30/2019, and end it with a pound. So put it in there, and now it's going to show me everybody who has an ETS date between those dates. So again, if you're looking for guys who are going to be in the reenlistment window, that's one quick way of doing it, is you search by those dates. Now again, I did the pound sign or the number sign. You really don't need to do that because Access is going to do it for you. So I'm going to put 10, 1, can't type today, 2018 and 9/30/2019. I hit tab and it's automatically going to put those pound signs in there. I go in there and it's still going to pull that same information. So again, you can do a date range, or if you want to look for a specific date, you can just put equal to 10/1/2018. 19. And it's going to see if there's anybody that matches. Look, and all those guys that match. There we go. So again, it kind of gives you an idea of what you're capable of doing with Access. Another thing that you can do is, let's say I want to add a new field to this query. So right here, I can do a couple things. I can do a zoom, and that kind of just lets me zoom into that particular cell. And I'm going to add a little bit of a kind of a code. So basically, I'm going to name this field. Let's say let's say I want to see what the date is. I'm trying to think of a good example. Let's say I want to find out how many active months they have. So let's say I'm going to name this active months. And I'm going to put a semicolon. So basically, once I put that semicolon, that's basically the label, and then everything after that is what I'm asking that field to display. So for active months, I can do this one of two ways. So I can do a date diff. So date diff is basically saying date differences between one date and another date. So hold on, I don't like it like this. I don't like this in the feature, so let me cancel this. I like it better when I'm in the builder. So let me go back in here, Control B, date diff, and notice how it automatically starts showing me the code. So I'm going to double click that. So basically, the first thing I'm going to put is it's asking me the interval. So let's say I want to know how many months. So I'm going to put M because M represents months. I'm going to put a comma. Once I hit comma, you're going to see it's going to start showing date 1. So now it's telling me to put in the first date. So the first date I'm going to put in is, so I want this active months. I want to know how many active months they have from their BASD to today. So there are several ways to do this. Now, if I want to look at another record that's on here, it's already there. It says BASD. I'm going to put this bracket, this open bracket. I'm going to type it in exactly how it is right here. BASD. Close it. Now I'm going to put another comma. Now it's going to ask for the second date. So the second date, again, I could do it to ETS date and close it. But again, I want it from today. So the way to do that is there's a little code in Access that allows you to do that. So you're going to type in now, and you're going to open and close it. Okay. Now, in order to close this date diff formula, it started with an open parenthesis. So I'm going to close it one more time. So now it should display how many months between the BASD and now. And by now I mean today's date. So if you open this database a month from now, everybody's active months should go up by 1 month because it's going off today's actual date. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go into Datasheet View, and it's showing me 933. Now again, this is great, but that's a lot of months. So you can actually do this by years as well. And the problem is that sometimes Access will round up or round down. So you sometimes have to verify. Now the code or the interval for years is 4 watts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hit OK. Come in here, and now it's going to show me how many years. So again, this is active months now. It says his BASD was 94, so this guy's old. Now again, I guess the code must have disappeared because it's not showing unique values for some reason. But the concept is the way it's supposed to be, where it's supposed to show you how many years. Now I didn't change this to active years, so let me go back in here. Go to Builder. In order to kind of get rid of all those duplicate cells, let me find the UICs again. Let me change this to, instead of active months, I'm going to change this to active years. Okay, and change the years. So this guy has 9 years from BASD, so look at that. So August, so he's just shy by 2 months and being 10 years, so yeah, that's about right, 9 years. Now another cool thing that you can do is you can actually add code to this formula. So let's say I wanted to actually say the number and years. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually type in, I can do the ampersand, the and sign, and then as you guys saw earlier, for text you want to do quotes. So I'm going to do quote, and I'm going to do a space because I want a space between the number and what I'm actually typing. I'm going to type in years, and I'm going to close the quote. Hit OK. And it's actually putting in 26 years, 25 years, 23 years. So it does kind of show you the different things that you can do with a query. Now, again, this is just kind of a crash course into queries. I'm going to go more in depth in queries over time, but this is to give you guys an idea of how to get started with queries. Now, there are countless things that you can do with queries. There's countless formulas that you can do. Again, this is purely the basics. Another cool thing, let's say you wanna put two fields together. So let's say, let me go over here in Builder and let me just put info. I'm going to do a semicolon, and let's say I want name and I'm going to put a space. So I'm going to do open quotation, space, quotation, and another and sign. I'm going to put soldiers social. And I'm going to close that bracket. Hold on, let me just do it. Maybe I should just do it after that. And then I'm going to do another and. And then let's say we do ETS. So ETS. Okay. And let's see how that worked out. So basically what I told this thing to do is, hey, I want a new field that's going to be named info, and it's going to show the name, and then there's going to be a comma and a space, and then it's going to say their social, then again it's going to be another comma, then space, and then their ETS date. Okay? Oh, what did I do wrong? This is something wrong. Let's see. Maybe I just type and. Nope. Let's do it this way. Name plus soldier social. So I got to find out what I did wrong with the formula, but it might have just been. Let's see, maybe if I can just do the plus sign instead. Oops. Comma. And plus. Try it that way. Yep, so it worked that way. So I just needed to do the plus sign. I did the and probably shouldn't have. So that kind of gives you an idea of what you can do with Access. There are date adds, date diffs. So let's say you want to know when a soldier will be 15 months from their ETS date. So let's do that quick formula. So let's say we'll put enters row. Enters reenlistment opportunity. Okay, so for this formula, I'm going to do a date add formula. Okay, and what this formula basically does now, I want to do it by months. Because right now we're doing a 15-month from ETS date. So I'm going to do, now this is a date add feature. So since I want to go back from the ETS date, I'm actually going to do, instead of a regular number 15, I'm actually going to do a minus 15 because I'm actually subtracting 15 months from whatever date that I put in there. I'm going to hit comma, and then I'm going to put ETS date. And then I'm going to, again, close that parentheses, and then hit OK. So now, what this should be giving me a date that's minusing 15 months from their ETS date. So we'll take a look at that. Kind of bring that back over here. So let's see. So this guy says he's going to enter his window December 31st, and that's because his ETS date is, so if you subtract 3, that would be December 17, 16. So yeah, that's about right. So subtracting, now again, we have that formula. I'm not going to go into nested formulas right now because I think that's a lot of information right now. But this kind of just does give you a general idea of what queries can do. Now again, this is just a basic select query. You know, you can actually, once you save this, you can actually export it. So wait, no, wrong one. So let's say I want to export this as Excel, and you can actually save the results that you have from here, you know, and export it to your desktop or wherever. There are other things you can do as well, like you can do a make table query where, so let me close this. Let me copy, paste, and I'm going to do this as query test query. Now I'm going to rename this to query make test. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because I'm going to change this to a make table query. So basically here, once I hit make table, it's asking me, okay, which table am I making this query to? So let's say I'm going to change this to table test. So I'm going to do okay. So once I hit run, it's telling me, hey, you're about to paste 41 rows into a new table. And hit yes, and now it made a new table. So everything that I had on that query, now it actually made a new table with all this data. You also can do delete queries, but I'm going to save that for another video. But again, for ops or for guys who are just doing data analysis, you kind of have a general idea of how to get data and how to manipulate it and how to search for specific things. And if you're searching for a certain criteria, like we searched for anyone with an ETS date of 10/1/2018, but there's also or. You can do 10/2/2018. You can keep going on, or you can actually type it in here. Or 10/2/2018. Now there's no one in that one. That's because I'm looking for everybody in that UIC. But let me delete this. Let me look for people beyond those UICs. And there we go. 10/1, 10/2. So it kind of gives you an idea of how many different queries. Again, the star kind of just shows you everybody. So if I hit like, and I want everybody who has a social that starts with 0, then I'm going to, again, I saved social as text. I'm going to do my parentheses, I'm going to do 0, and then I'm going to do my star, because all I really care is that the beginning starts with 0. Everything after that, I'm going to put that star. And let's see if it finds everyone that matches. So right now it's looking for everybody who has that starts with a 0. So look, it's showing everybody whose social starts with a 0. And if I want to go more specific, hey, I want everybody who starts with 4 zeros. Let's do it again. And now everybody with 4 zeros. So they either have 4 zeros in the beginning of their social or more. So again, or you want to go in reverse and you're like, you know what, I want everybody whose social ends with a 0. So I'm going to put that star in front, because again, I don't care everything that's before that. I just want to know everybody whose social ends with a 0. Whoop, go in there, and now it's everybody whose social ends with a 0. So again, gives you a quick idea of what queries can do. Now, moving forward with these databases, whatever you guys want to learn, whatever specific stuff that you guys would like to learn as far as what databases can do, what queries you can do, or how to do certain things, go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section, or shoot me an email if you have my email. That way I can upload more videos on specifically how to do that. But I'm also, as well as going into more queries, I want to go into creating macros, creating reports, creating forms, and then even going into VBA. Now, keep in mind, I don't think there's anybody out there who knows everything about Access. There are people who know a lot, So if you know people who can teach you, definitely reach out. But if this is a good forum for you guys to learn, I know this is how I learned Access through YouTube videos. Let me know, and I can start uploading more videos. But again, this is to kind of empower career counselors, empower people who want to learn more about Access on how to run your own queries, run your own information. When I first started making databases and I was looking at my eligibility report, this is exactly how my database started off looking. I just ran simple queries to get information quick and efficiently. So again, Access gives you a lot of different ways. There are thousands upon thousands of different features and things that Access can do. If you get overwhelmed, that's fine. That's normal. You take it one step at a time. But again, just leave me comments on what you want to do, what you would like to see in future videos, and hopefully this helps.